So this is our Google Drive. Here you have the spreadsheet, and let's open the Word file, the Google Docs, and then you'll see here the outline for the paper. So this is the outline, final paper outline, business finance, senior high school department, financial statements analysis, group project. Okay, so of course, there should be a cover page and the table of contents. And then we have 10 chapters. Actually, it's only 9 kasi yung last chapter is just the reference. Okay, we don't actually put a chapter to the reference. So tanggalin ko na lang to para hindi siya i-consider as a chapter. Okay, so the first chapter will be company and comparison background. Let me clarify this. No? Bakit company and comparison? If you take a look at the spreadsheet, nakalagay dyan company and benchmark or comparison. So this means, guys, that you're going to choose not only one company, but another company who is the direct competitor, yung closest rival. So hindi pa pwedeng si Jollibee versus si Burger Machine. Hindi pa pwede yun. Kailangan yung closest rival ng company. And walang duplication, guys. Ibig sabihin, pag nauna kayong naglagay ng isang company dito, dapat titingnan ng mga other groups kung meron na yon, no? Hindi pa pwede yung i-duplicate yung company na yon, nor the benchmark. So walang duplication ng company at saka benchmark dun sa other groups. That's why I'm putting here date and time para, kunyari, in case na may dispute, no? But I'm sure hindi naman magkakaroon ng problem to kasi I'm sure you will be honest enough and be circumspect so that when you put in a company, you have to make sure that wala pang kumuha nun. Okay, some pointers about choosing a company. Choose a company it's best to choose a company that's listed in the Philippine Stock Exchange. So what's the implication of that? Alamin nyo kung ano yung PSE, alamin nyo kung ano yung Philippine Stock Exchange. Bakit natin sinasabi na it's better to choose companies that are listed in the PSE? Because they're required to give FS reports regularly. So mas madali yung makukuha yung information na yun, yung FS na yun. And it should be 3 years, no? 2018, 2019, or 2020. If not, guys, we can go back to 2017, 2018, 2019 kung wala pa kayong makuha ang 2020. But usually, if it's listed, madaling maghanap, no? So may mga requirements sa inyo, guys. No? Ibig sabihin, ang requirement sa inyo, dapat naiintindihan nyo kung ano yung PSE, ano yung mga companies nakalisted doon. Tapos doon kayo hahanap, no? And syempre, dapat magka-competitor yung pipiliin nyo. Kasi when you do financial ratio analysis, you have to benchmark it against another company. Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na maganda yung current ratio ng company natin na ina-analyze natin. Yung pala, kung i-compare mo sa direct competitor niya, mas maganda pa yung current ratio ng direct competitor niya. Okay, so that's kaya nga may company and benchmark company dito. Okay, avoid holding companies, avoid mother companies, no? Kasi ang ginagawa niyan, siya nagmamanage ng iba't ibang companies, no? Ng iba't ibang strategic business units ng company na 'yon. So mas mahirap i-analyze 'yon. Avoid also banks, avoid financial institutions. Kasi yung balance sheet nila, guys, at saka yung income statement, nakakalito. Unless you are already very familiar with their accounts, it will be very difficult to do in FS analysis. So focus more on service or manufacturing companies kasi mas madaling mas madaling i-analyze. We don't want you to have difficulties in analyzing the FS kasi hindi nyo naiintindihan yung mga accounts. Pag manufacturing, meron siguro mga specialized pero mas konti lang, mas madaling i-research kung ano yung ibig sabihin ng mga accounts na yan. Okay, so those are some pointers about what to choose as regards company and their benchmark company. Okay, so going back here, so you're going to talk about the company background and also kasama na rin syempre yung competitor niya, no? Kasi parang isa side by side nyo. Now, board of directors, this is very important kasi according to SEC, no? Tingnan nyo, guys, yung mga requirements to be a board of directors under the Philippine laws, no? Under SEC. Kasi importante na may independence, okay? Gone are the days, guys, na ginagawang hanap buhay yan yung ibang tao. Yung ibang tao dati ang ginagawa, nagbo-board of directors siya sa maraming companies. Kasi sa isang meeting lang lalo na pag malaking company, guys, malaki din binabayad sa board of directors. So, bawal na yung ganun ngayon, guys, no? Kasi pag board of directors, siniseryoso na yung role nila in order to make sure that the interests of the shareholders are protected. Kasi nga, di ba, yung mga shareholders, lalo na ngayon, guys, sa mga listed companies, di ba, ang dami ng mga shareholders yan. So, kunyari ako, quote-unquote, owner ako ng Jollibee, paano yung interest ko sa company? Okay? So, that's why there are board of directors that take a look at the position of the company, yung mga ano nila, yung mga decisions nila, in order to protect the shareholders who are not represented dun sa loob ng company. Okay, so basic industry background, nasa anong industry ba sila? Maganda kung may backgrounder tayo doon. Kunyari, gaano kalaki yung market ng industry na yun? Is it let's say, kunyari, 5 trillion peso industry? Okay? Is it that big an industry? So, talk about the basic market analysis, ano yung products na inaano ng industry na to, okay? And also the financial objectives. So that will be chapter 1 of your FS analysis. Chapter 2 will just be a summary. So if you take a look at the summary of the financial ratios, meron tayong liquidity ratio, asset management, debt ratio, profitability, yung mga naka-blue, and market value ratios. Of course, guys, we're going to discuss that in greater detail when we go to module number 2. Okay, then we have here DuPont. It's a measure of return on equity. Dati kasi, ang isa sa pinaka-importanting measure ng corporate performance is return on equity. Kasi tinitingnan dyan yung magkano yung kinikita ng company per every share ng shareholders. Okay? So, by the way, we're going to take a look at this 2018, 2019, 2020. Sinabi ko kanina. Kung wala pang 2020 kasi dapat meron na yan no? Sabihin niyo sa akin kasi papayag ako dun sa 2017, 18, and 19. Pero preferably talaga up to 2020. So this measures yung DuPont na to. DuPont is a chemical company, guys. So they came up with a measure of ROE since before, sabi nga natin, ang pinaka-importanteng measure is ROA, ROE. No? And ROE can be broken down into 3 measures: profit margin, total asset turnover, and financial leverage multiplier. Okay, we're going to discuss this in greater detail. No? So sabi ng DuPont method of measuring ROE, in order to improve return on equity, kailangan i-improve tong 3 factors na to. So this is what we call a 3-way DuPont model. Meron nga 5-way, no? 5-way DuPont model. So that should be part of your computation. And there are other measures here that are very important also. Okay, net operating working capital, net investment in total operating capital. Ito guys, importante, aaralin natin itong NOPAT, net operating profit after tax, free cash flow, return on invested capital, market value added, and economic value added. Okay, so these are measures that we need to know, which you're required to include in the computation. Okay, so chapter 3 will be all about liquidity ratios. So whereas dito, computation lang, no? Parang snapshot to ng whole picture of the company from the perspective of 5 different ratios. Dito, iisa-isahin na natin. In terms of liquidity, what can we say about the firm? Of course, benchmark against the direct competitor. So there will be computations here, discussion, and interpretation and analysis. Ganun din dito guys, other ratios. Liquidity, asset management. Sorry, this should be asset management. Asset management ratios, debt management ratio, and profitability. Hindi na natin sinama dito yung market value ratios. No? So yung 4 na ratios na lang. Kasi dito dapat may market value ratios. Okay, we're not going to do that anymore sa analysis. Yung 4 na ratios na lang. And then you have here horizontal and vertical analysis. Okay, and then of course discussion and interpretation. So chapter 8, recommendations. Pick at least 5 areas that the company needs to address. in the course of analyzing this, may mga makikita kayo dyan, guys. May makakita kayo mga issues, concerns, no? So you can expound on that dito sa recommendation. Choose 5. Okay, minimum of 5. Of course, you can add more. And then, analyze kung bakit problematic siya. Okay? Now, yung analysis, guys, can take the form of what we call horizontal analysis. Okay? Ang horizontal analysis, tinitingnan natin kung ano nangyayari. Kunyari, tingnan natin to, guys, no? Kunyari, yung cost dito, dati yung cost nung 2018, it's only 83.45% of sales. Ibig sabihin, sa bawat piso ng sales, merong cost of sales na 83 centavos. Nung dumating ng 2019, lumaki, guys. No? Nagmahal, no? Sa bawat piso ng sale, ang cost ng goods na yun, 85 centavos. Pero noong 2020, naging 82 centavos na lang. So, ibig sabihin, tumaas muna noong 2019, pero nag-improve naman siya in 2020. Now, ang reality, sa totoo, guys, sa totoong financial statements analysis, titingnan talaga yan in greater detail. Ano ba yung mga components ng cost of goods sold na yan? Okay, saan medyo nagtaas yung presyo? Sa anong raw material, no? etc. etc. Ganun ka-detailed dapat yung pag-analyze. Pero syempre sa atin naman, hindi naman, we don't have access to the nitty-gritty details. So medyo sabi natin overview lang yung pag-discuss natin. So this is all about cost. And then if you can investigate, guys, kung ano kaya ang cost component yung tumaas, kasi usually may breakdown yung cost na yan. Okay, so pwede nating mahimay ng konti, no? Kung ano yung naging cost ng taas ng cost dito. Okay, and that can be an item for consideration sa recommendation. I-analyze siya and then magbibigay ng recommendation. Okay, then chapter 9 will be all about conclusion, parang summary lang ng discussion ng paper na to. Okay, so that's the outline for our FS ratio analysis. Okay, the sooner, guys, the sooner you put here your company, the better. Ang target natin, sana by next week, meron na kayong napili ng company. Tapos, guys, tingnan nyo na, no? Research nyo na yung FS niya, yung 3 years. Tingnan nyo na. Tapos, kunyari, pag naglagay kayo ng company X dito, kunyari, naglagay kayo ng company X, company Y. Okay, so naka-reserve sa inyo yan. Hindi pwedeng gamitin ng iba yan. But in the course of your research, napansin nyo na siguro medyo mahirap yung FS niya, then you can still change this. Hindi naman cast in stone yung ilalagay nyo. For as long as wala kayong tatamaan din na iba na nakapaglagay na ng ibang company sila. Okay? So, importante yun, guys, kung ano yung company na ilalagay natin dito. Ha? Okay. So, clear yon, guys. Lagyan nyo rin kung date and time nyo linagay. Kung may update kayo, lagyan nyo rin date and time updated. Any questions about that? Is it clear? Local company lang. Thank you, Renzo, for that question. Mahirap kung international company ang pipiliin nyo. Unang-una, siguro yung FS yan, baka in yen o in dollars. So, ibig sabihin, mag-ano pa kayo, magko-convert pa kayo. Mahirap, no? So, let's make it easy, relatively easy for us. Kasi ang gusto natin nandito, yung depth ng analysis nyo dun sa FS. Okay? Any other questions about this? Siyempre, yung pag-compute, guys, aaralan natin yan sa module 2. We'll be using Excel para sa computation, para hindi na tayo, ang focus natin is more on analyzing and not so much on the arithmetic of it. Okay, so yung guys, yung next one, yung case study, I'm going to post it by next week, no? Next week ko na lang yun. So habang nagdi-discuss kayo with your groupmates sa FS, you can also start discussing with your case study group, no? Case study groupmate. Okay, pakilagay na lang dito. Group 2, may pinili na kayo bench and pen shop. Make sure, guys, ang ilalagay ni dito yung company name, hindi yung brand. Alamin niyo kung ano yung company name niyan, no? I'm not sure kung ano yung name ng pen shop, kung pen shop ba talaga. But make sure you put the name of the company itself. Okay? So reminder lang. Okay, so any other questions about this outline? Okay, tapos guys, make sure na pinalitan nyo dito, make sure na kunyari spot check, talikuran. Okay, talikuran. Dito is group 4. So, hindi pa nababago, no? Talikuran is group 1 dito, pero ang dito, group 4 siya. So, make sure guys that kayo na lang yung individually, i-check nyo kung tama na tong ano na to, kung okay na tong grouping na to. Make sure that, kunyari, si Gonzales, no? Gonzales, si Pia, group 1 siya dito. Pagdating niya dito, group ano siya? Group Gonzales here is, asan si Gonzales? Group 3. So Gonzales, Pia, group 1, group 3. Okay? Tama. Okay, just make sure guys na tama yung pag-grouping nyo dito. Kasi ikakopy ko to, no? Ikakopy ko sa Excel shop. Mahirap kung magkamali din ako ng pag-ano ng grouping. Okay, so let's now go back to our discussion. Sana umabot tayo sa slide number 28, no? Okay. So far we have said that the main objective of any organization should be maximize shareholder wealth. and that balikan natin yun. Sorry. Let's have a quick review of that. What is finance? We said that it's all about resource allocation, allocating money into the businesses that the company would want to engage in. Okay, so sabi natin, a good example is you have this mother company, it can be Ayala, DMCI, JG Summit, SM, and then they engage in businesses in several industries. The reason for this is diversification. It's good not to put all your eggs in one basket. That's a layman's saying. Maganda kung nakalagay yung funds natin, pera natin sa iba't ibang industriya, iba't ibang negosyo, because it mitigates against risks. It waters down risk. If a particular industry is hit by economic difficulties, at least meron pang ibang industries, ibang companies na where the mother company is engaged in to cushion the effect of the breakdown or the yung difficulties dun sa isang industry na yun. Okay? I hope that's clear, guys. Simply finance is, sabi natin, it's related to money, no? Management of funds, resource management, resource acquisition and management. Okay, so next week, guys, we're going to take a look at this. Yung institutions, yung markets and instruments that deal with finance, no? And it's all about transfer of money. It's all about the flow of cash among the different players, among the different institutions or firms that are affected by this. Okay, so sabi din natin, according to Kiyon, ang finance has something to do also with increasing economic value or economic wealth. Kung ano yung mga decision na ginagawa, whether it be financing, investing, dividends, no? Lahat yan should be geared towards creating more value for the firm, economic value, and not destroying value. We want the company, through the management, to be value creators and not value destroyers. Okay, so I think nasabi ko na to dati. Others would think that finance is just an extension of accounting. That's not true. Finance makes use of the inputs of accounting, but finance is not accounting. Okay, and finance is not also simply financial modeling. Part yan, importante modeling sa finance. No? And finance is not just a subsector of the banking industry. We said that from a corporate setting, any action, any decision on the part of the company that will need flow of funds, cash, may say dapat ang finance yan, whether it's marketing, operations, accounting, etc. So this is part of your slide. Sabi natin, whether it's marketing or kunyari sa pricing or product strategies, okay, or coming up with an information system, or taking a look at actions or policies to be implemented by human capital department or human resource or organizational behavior or organizational development. Importante yung finance yan. Corporate strategy, mag-acquire ng ibang business o magsiset up ng panibagong business, kailangan yung finance dyan, guys. Operations lalo na. So in whatever aspect of a firm, no, na kakailanganin ng decision making as regards funds, finance will always have an important say in that aspect. Okay, now any field, guys, any body of knowledge will have certain basic principles. Si finance din meron. May mga basic finance principles, and we'll take a look at these three principles. I'm sorry guys, may sulat na tong ano I hope you are able to see this. So let me just read from this one. Sabi dito, lahat ng discipline may mga basic principles that it needs in order to be that's fundamental, okay, to that field. Ganon din ng finance. Si corporate finance, meron tayong tinatawag na three fundamental principles: investment principle, financing principle, and dividend principle. So let's discuss first investment principle. Pag investment principle, ang tanong dyan, saan mag-i-invest? Anong projects? Okay? Anong industry? Okay, so for example, si Dito, new player sa market ng telecommunications, bago nila ginawa yan, guys, bago sila nag-set up ng company called Dito, syempre katakot-takot na analysis yan, katakot-takot na financial financial analysis kung okay ba, is it feasible, is it okay to enter this industry? And the rest is history. Alam natin na they came up with that decision based on their financial analysis na okay pumasok sa third major player sa telco. So, ang tanong din guys sa investment principles is it okay to enter this industry? Okay? Sabihin natin guys, by way of example, let's suppose that the return, in-estimate ni dito, na ang return is 10%. Okay, mag-increase na lang ako dito ng mag-insert ako dito guys ng slide. Okay, let's say that the company came up with this analysis, and they said that, where's my digital pen? Okay, and according to their study, sabi nila 10% daw yung oops, ayaw. Okay, pens. 10%. 10% yung magiging returns ng proposed business. Okay, question guys, question. Okay, pakichat. If you were the CFO, okay ba to? Okay ba tong 10% na to? Okay, pakichat na lang guys, your opinion. Kung okay yung 10% return, what's your take on that? Kunyari you're the CFO and the CEO told you, pag nag-invest tayo dito sa negosyong to, ang return natin 10%. Although that might be parang mali, no? Kasi dapat kasama yung CFO dun sa pag-compute ng 10%. Pero sabihin na natin na kasama tayo sa pag-compute ng 10%, go ba yan? Go or no go? Sige nga guys, paki-chat nga. Kung go for you or no go. Thank you, Mika. Thank you. Ada, thank you. So, kay Mika at kay Ada, go sila. How about the rest, guys? I hope I see here more than 20 answers. Renzo, go. Hans, go. Thank you. Matt, go. Pia, go then. John, Richard, Basti, okay. Eva, Christian. Okay, mukhang lahat kayo go, no? Hazel, go then. Okay. Mark, go. Okay, and there must be a reason, guys, why you're saying go. Okay, Mark, ikaw lang tawagin ko. Bakit sa'yo go yung go yung business? Go, mag-invest tayo doon based on the 10% returns. Could you share to the class kung ano yung what went to your mind? Ano yung reason mo kung bakit? If you're the CFO, mag-go tayo doon? Where's Mark?
Sir, hello. Sir, pakiulit po ulit.
Okay,
what you just said.
Sabi mo go yung yung decision mo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, could you share with the class bakit yun ang sinabi mong Bakit go?
Wait sir, I'm not sure.
Sige lang, yung opinion mo lang. Okay lang kung ano yung what went through your mind? Bakit mukhang okay naman, no? Bakit kaya? Siyempre, there must have been something that went through your mind why you said go yung yung 10% na niyan.
Sir, I'm going to be honest. I agreed with the rest of the class
Okay,
po.
sige. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for being honest. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you for your honesty, Mark. How about anyone, guys? Okay, Ada, nag-raise ng hand. Sige, Ada, anong ano mo? Bakit nag-okay ka ba?
Yes po.
Sige, bakit
Um,
go?
the reason po na nag-go po ako is, even though at the start 10% yung makukuha ko po, as the business progresses, yung 10% po is a part ng increasing income ng business. So even though it's 10%, it's still big po.
Okay, so thank you, Ada. No, thank you for that. Support to your answer. So maybe you have other reasons, guys. Okay, I'm sure pag tinanong ko kayo isa-isa, meron kayong mga meron kayong kanya-kanyang reasons kung bakit go tayo dito. It can be also the start of a progress, sabi ni Basti. Basti, paki-share sa lahat, no?
Sabi ko, I think medyo similar lang po kay Adam.
Okay.
Yun nga, even if we have like 10%, it's still considered a progress rin para there can be certain improvements then for the business para it can increase in the coming days or months or years.
Correct. Well said, no? Tama naman kasi may potential for for growth, no? Kasi baka 10% yan later on maging 12%, etc. However, guys, meron tayong mga fundamental principles sa finance. Ang kagandahan niyan, guys, we don't have to come up with quote-unquote guesses, no? Kung okay ba yung project na yun, hindi. We don't have to guess, no? Kasi in a sense, parang nanguhula tayo in that sense. Kasi pwede din sabihin ng isa, no go ako kasi baka naman bumagsak yung business. So, sino na ang susundin natin, di ba? Will it be a go or no go? The very wonderful thing here is that finance offers us certain principles. Okay, ito yung principle na yun. In order for us to appreciate that, kailangan maintindihan natin kung ano ibig sabihin ng word na to. Meron tayong tinatawag na WACC. Okay, what's WACC? WACC means weighted average cost of capital. Okay, weighted average cost of capital, ang ibig sabihin niyan, ito yung average cost para sa company in acquiring funds. Okay? So remember guys, ang funds guys, hindi libre yan. No? Whether mangutang tayo or we invite more shareholders, okay? May cost yan. Merong rini-require na return yung mga investors. Hindi pa pwedeng walang return silang inaano. Hindi libre yung binibigay nila na funds. Okay? So, actually yung formula guys ng WACC, isulat ko lang dito WACC is equal to, di-discuss naman natin to but not now, no? In a future date. Yan. It's the summation of the weight of the financing multiplied by the cost of the financing. So this breaks down into weight ng debt times cost ng debt times 1 minus tax. Pag debt guys, linalagyan ng 1 minus tax kasi may tax savings eh. Pag remember guys yung leverage natin, and then plus weight ng preferred stock multiplied by the cost of the preferred plus weight ng common stock multiplied by the cost of the common stock. So that's how you compute for the weighted average cost of capital. Okay? So ang decision guys, okay? So let's suppose that when we computed for the WACC, it turns out to be 12%. Okay. So conceptually guys, sasabihin natin, no-go yung project na yan. Bakit? Kasi yung acquiring ng funds natin, yung cost niyan sa atin 12%. Tapos yung return ng project 10% lang, hindi pa pwede. Okay? So as I said, the good news is, meron tayong principles na ginagamit sa finance. So hindi tayo parang blindsided na, baka pwede mag-increase yung returns, no? We're not blindsided by that. We have solid fundamental principles that we can lean on in order to come up with sound decisions, no? Another name for this, by the way, another name for this WACC is your hurdle rate. Alam niyo naman ibig sabihin ng hurdle, di ba? Yung kailangan lampasan, yung kailangan talunan, no? Okay, if the project was 14%, then go tayo sa project, no? Kasi mas mataas siya sa weighted average cost of capital. Okay? So, sa financing guys, sa investment, ang natutunan natin dito sa investment na to, kailangan we should earn the highest, no? Sabi dito sa slide na to, earn the highest possible risk-adjusted return. And ang benchmark yan, guys, if the project is greater than the weighted average cost of capital, then okay yung project na yan. If it's lower than WACC, then reject the project. Okay, so that's one good thing about the investment principle kasi guided tayo. Guided tayo kung anong project ang kukunin natin o kung may business ba na i-acquire tayo and what will be the operative principle. The return of the project should be greater than the weighted average cost of capital. Okay, next guys, financing principle. Ano naman tong financing principle? Determine how to fund capital. How to fund capital investments. So sa financing, tinatanong natin, okay, meron tayong potential na investment, 10 billion siya, paano natin i-fund yan? Usually naman guys, usually companies do not have enough liquidity for that. No? At saka may reason kung bakit magandang gumamit ng utang. No? I-discuss natin mamaya yan. No? So, ang question, how will we finance this? Itong capital investment na to. Shall we do debt? Shall we do equity? Shall we do combination? Okay? So, yung tinatanong sa principle ng financing. Isa pang tinatanong guys, what's the optimal capital structure? Okay, so tingnan natin yan, ha? What is the optimal capital structure? So if you take a look at the firm as a structure, remember guys, ang company is, in basic accounting equation natin, assets is equal to liabilities plus equity. Pag i-divide natin yung equation na to ng asset over asset, okay, this now is your, tawag natin dito your debt ratio, and this is now your equity ratio. Equity ratio. So you can take a look at the firm as parang structure siya. Sabi natin building, no? Building. Tapos, may portion siya na financed by debt. Ilang percent yan? May portion siya na financed by equity. So, part of finance is to determine ano ba yung optimal capital structure. Ano ba magandang capital mix? Okay? Optimal mix kung tawagin. So, this is called, by the way, isulat ko lang dito for your reference, capital structure. So, ang gusto natin, hindi basta-basta ang capital structure, gusto natin na optimal. Optimal capital structure or capital mix. Okay. Capital mix. Yeah. So, ang tanong, ano ba yung optimal capital structure? Okay, so kakailangan natin guys, I would request that you use your chat now. Sige, mag-chat tayo guys. I want to know, para sa inyo, ano ba yung magandang capital structure? Ang unang percentage, ibibigay niyo yung debt, pangalawa yung equity. So, kunyari, 50-50. So, 50% debt, 50% equity. So, may I see, guys, your answer? What's your idea? Ano ba yung pinakamagandang capital structure? What's on your mind, guys? Paki-chat, please. For you, ano yung optimal capital structure? Hopefully lahat kayo guys maglalagay ng answer nyo dito, no? Kasi gusto makita kung para sa inyo ano ba yung magandang mix ng debt at saka ng equity. Any brave hands, guys? Paki-chat na lang. Just a guess naman lang yan eh.
Sir, can you please repeat pa the question?
The question is, sabi natin, di ba yung capital structure is yung proportion ng financing na debt at saka proportion ng financing na equity. Okay, so ang tanong ko, ano sa tingin nyo ang optimal, ang best capital structure? Okay, so si Mika nag-answer dito 30-70, no? 30% debt, 70% equity. Si Ada, 50-50. Okay, any other answers, guys? Just have a guess, no? Have a guess. So, si Mika, okay, Basti, 40-60. Okay, ano pa? 20-80. Okay, thank you, Bea. Any other answers? John, 60-40. Mas maraming debt kay John, no? Okay, thank you, John. Okay, iba, guys? 40-60 din si Eva. So I haven't seen the answers of others. Si Mary, 3070. Si Hans, 4060. Si Renzo, 3070. Pia, 50-50 din. Okay. Kristen, 4060. Okay, so okay, any other answers? Any more, guys, before we proceed? Okay, so if you take a look, guys, medyo nagre-range yung ano natin, ano? Okay, ang pinakamababang debt natin dito is 30, o may 20, no? May 20, 80. Ang pinakamataas, 60, 40. Okay, sige, tanong ko nga, very quick, ano lang, Bea. Okay, Bea, sorry, nalagay dun sa private mo nalagay yung answer mo. Ano na lang, copy na lang to everyone para makita ng iba yung answer mo. So kay Bea, it's 2080. Bea, could you explain, paki-share lang sa class kung bakit 2080 yung ano mo, yung feel mo na optimal capital structure.
Hello po, sir.
Yes, Bea.
I think po dapat mababa yung debt.
Okay.
Okay, yan lang naman.
Bakit kaya? Bakit parang mas gusto mo mababa yung debt?
Para di malubog sa utang.
Okay, yeah, that's very valid, no? Kasi may fear na baka hindi makabayad ng utang, di ba? Kasi may interest payments yan eh, right? So there's this fear that if a company engages in debt, no, there's the risk of not being able to pay the interest payment and the principal payment later on. Okay, may nakita ako dito na 60-40 naman. So pareho si Christian at saka si Kailu. Kailu, would you like to share bakit 60-40 ang pinili mo?
Hello po.
Yes, Kailu.
I think that there's an inherent risk when financing a business. There's always risk na malugi or what have you.
Okay.
So I think that starting out, it is more important na you can get your foot in the door much faster. And I think that's easier with debt rather than equity.
Okay, yeah, very sound answer, no? Thank you, Kailu, for that, no? Kasi baka limited yung funds natin, kailangan natin ng malaking funds. So siguro para mag-infuse ng fund, kailangan mas yung utang, no? Okay, that's a valid answer. No? That's a valid answer na 60-40. So back to our question, guys. Ano ba yung pinaka-optimal na capital structure? So is it in the other section may 60, ano pa nga, may 0-100, no? Tsaka meron namang 100-0 nasa other end of the extreme, no? Other end of the spectrum. Yung isa ayaw ng debt, 0-100. Yung isa naman 100-0. Well, in reality, guys, mas may makikita tayong 0-100 kaysa sa 100-0. Let me explain. 0-100, well, it depends on the owners of the business. Kung ayaw nila talaga ng debt, no? Kung allergic sila, hindi sila makatulog na may utang. Okay? So, pwede sila mag 0-100. Wala namang restriction doon, no? That's there. Kaso nga lang ang inherent disadvantage noon, kung limited din yung funds sa mga owners, tapos may mga potential projects na magaganda na medyo expensive na magandang pasukan, kung walang funds yung owner, so paano yun? Hindi na lang papasukin yung business kasi takot umutang. Okay. So sabi ko pwedeng 0-100, pero hindi pa pwedeng 100-0. Kasi guys, kung tutukusin, walang company na magpapautang sa'yo, walang financial institution na magpapautang sa'yo, kung lahat 100% credit lang, 100% debt, no? Siyempre, mag-due diligence sila niyan, no? Kukunin nila yung balance sheet nyo. Tapos makikita, ang assets nyo 100 million, tapos ang liability nyo 100 million, tapos wala kayong zero capital, di ba? So, if you were the financing institution, hindi ka magpapahiram, di ba? Kasi masyadong risky na yun. Wala man lang infusion ng capital yung owners. So, due diligence dictate that next to impossible, guys, if not impossible, yung 100-0, 100 debt, 0 yung equity. Okay? In fact, sa kasi guys, sa corporation law din, hindi pa pwedeng walang equity. So legally and And practically impossible yung 100-0. Pero may principle din guys na I don't know if you have seen the movie Other People's Money by Danny DeVito. Si Danny DeVito siya yung penguin sa Batman Batman movies. Yung maliit na na quite stocky person. So he has this movie Other People's Money. It's an interesting movie, no? A very interesting movie. Although hindi required viewing sa atin. Pero magandang panoodin nyo rin guys. Other People's Money by si Danny DeVito ang ang bida. Now, ba't ko ba nabanggit yon? Kasi ang pinaka-principle nun guys, the use of leverage. No? Importante na guys na may utang din yung company. No? It's good to have debt. And what's the reason for that? Gawa na lang akong panibagong slide. No? Okay, new slide. Okay, so debt guys has a leverage power. No? It has the capability to leverage. Ano ba yung leverage? Guys, alam yung lever, di ba? Ito, tapos may fulcrum tayo dito. Yan yung lever, yung naaangat niyang ganyan. No? So, debt, guys, yung utang, has what we call financial and operating leverage. Merong merong financial leverage and operating leverage na binibigay ang utang. So, very quickly, guys, kunyari, meron tayong EBIT, no? EBIT. Okay, let's say 100. EBIT is earnings before interest and taxes. Pag interest guys, sabihin natin na na walang utang. Zero leverage yung company. So walang interest. Okay, so earnings before tax is 100 and then tax, sabihin natin, assume natin na 30% yung tax rate. So this is 30. Okay, so net income after tax will be 70. Now, what happens, guys, when we have debt? No? So, may 100 to. Let's say, ang utang natin is, ang interest, sabihin natin 30. No? 30. So, earnings before tax would be 70. Okay, tax is 30% of 70, so that's 21. Okay, so this becomes 59. Okay, notice, guys, na ang leverage is in the form of lesser tax. So ito 30, ito 21. So bumaba yung tax. Okay. Although yung net income after tax mas mataas yung walang utang. Pero later on guys, may kino-compute natin ang tawag ng financial leverage. You'll see that mas maganda yung may utang. So may purpose guys kung bakit mga companies umuutang sila. Of course, primarily there is this potential business venture. Tapos, kailangan ng funds, hindi naman sufficient yung funds ng company, yung infusion ng shareholders. So, kung i-let go mo yung business na yun, magkakaroon tayo ng opportunity cost. No? Kasi sayang kasi takot tayo sa utang, ayaw natin magkaroon ng percentage yung debt. Nami-miss out natin yung power of debt as a financial leverage. Yung leverage, diba, sabi natin yung naiaakyat niya. Okay, so also, guys, sabi ko nga, the power to invest more, the power to engage in other business so that the company can earn more. Okay? Tapos meron din, kaya importante guys yung 5 C's of credit, no? Andyan, for example, yung collateral, andyan din yung character. Yung character ng humihiram. Kung wala kang track record ng paghihiram, mahihirapan yung company. Okay? As compared to big companies, who despite big cash flow, umuutang yung mga yan. Ha? Kung titingnan nyo guys, bakit umuutang yung mga malalaking companies? Kasi alam nila yung power ng debt. Okay? Of course, taken to an extreme, mahirap din yun. And besides guys, hindi ka, kunyari, 90-10 ka na, mahihirapan ka na humiram ng utang. No? Unless, uutang ka at a premium. Kasi yung mga magpapahiram sa inyo, sasabihin nila, ay napaka-risky pa utangin ka. Okay, sige papautangin kita, pero either i-collateral mo yan, magbigay ka ng collateral mo yung lupa nyo. Yan. O kaya, tataasan kita ng interest kasi I'll be assuming a greater amount of risk. Therefore, you will have to pay me more. That's a principle of risk and return yan, di ba? I don't know if I've mentioned this to you. Risk and return principle. The higher the assumed risk, the higher is the required return. So financing institutions, if they're going to lend you money, they will have to charge you a greater amount of interest. Kasi masyadong risky sa kanila magpautang sa iyo kasi napakataas na ng ano mo ng leverage. So taken to an extreme yun, guys, no? Okay. So ano to? Nasa purview to, guys, ng ano ng financing, no? So part ng finance yan. Balikan natin to. Saan yan? Okay. Ito pala. So capital financing, okay? Pag mag-i-invest yung company, anong gagamitin? Utang or equity? Tapos ano ba yung optimal capital structure? Hindi ko pa pala nasasagot yung question yun. So going back, guys, what's the optimal capital structure? I haven't answered that. What's the optimal capital structure? Is it 10-10, 10-90? Is it 90-10? Is it 50-50? Okay. Ang sagot dyan, guys, ang optimal capital structure is, okay, it's not 50-50. It's not 60-40. It's not 40-60. It is, may nag-chat, check natin. Okay, depends. Okay, well, in a sense, it depends, guys. But the answer is that the optimal capital structure, so ang optimal daw, optimal capital structure is a capital structure that maximizes shareholder value. Yan, okay? So walang parang magic number para sa lahat ng companies. Bawat company may kanya-kanyang optimal structure. Okay, tapos yung optimal structure ginagamit yan para i-compute yung weighted average cost of capital. Okay? So it really depends on the firm, and it depends on several factors. Okay? Several factors like ano ba yung mga prevailing interest rates ngayon? Ano ba yung temperature ng economy ngayon? Maganda ba siya? Robust ba siya? Etc. So the weighted average cost of capital can be computed, yes, pero may mga several factors din na makaka-apekto sa kanya. Okay? So we say, guys, that an optimal capital structure is a capital structure that maximizes shareholder value. Okay lang. Thank you, Cheska, for informing me. Okay, it's okay, Renzo. Okay, nag-brown out daw sa kanila. Salamat, ha. Salamat for informing me. Okay, so saan na tayo? Doon na tayo, no? So sa financing, guys. Okay, so dito, no, sa financing. So investing principle, financing principle, and last, guys, yung dividend principle. Okay. Sa dividend principle naman, okay, ano yung masasabi natin doon pag dividend principle? Pag dividend principle, guys, okay, we have to insert another for me to discuss this. New slide. Okay. Okay, saan ba nanggagaling dividends? No? Dividends come from, syempre sa earnings yan. Let's start with the net income after tax. Start with the net income after tax. And then, ang disposition yan, ang bilis ng oras, 12:24 na pala. Okay, either distributed as retained earnings, okay, or brought the return to the shareholders in the form of dividends. So ang tawag dito, guys, this is your retention rate. And ito naman yung DPO, dividend payout ratio. Okay. So part of finance, guys, inaalam nila magbibigay ba ng dividends. So they will have to make a decision of that. Of course, pag-aaralan nila yan. And they will have to make computations there. So kung magbibigay ng dividends man, ilang percent? So should it be 30% dividends and 70% retention ratio, etc.? No? So alamin ng company, ano ba yung dividend payout ratio natin? Now, there's a reason why companies give dividends, no? And one of the underlying reason there is because it's also able to maximize shareholder value. Paano yun? Okay, a company that's always regularly pays dividends sends a very strong signal na very robust tong company na to. Okay? They can afford to pay dividends kasi sufficient yung cash nila para mag-flow back ng funds para sa operations ng business. Okay? So if you have companies like that provide dividends regularly, then kikita natin na, oh, okay itong company na to, and potential investors will be tempted to also invest in that company. So since fixed naman yung number of shares that's floating in the market, ano nangyayari? Pag tumataas yung demand to buy that stock, ano nangyayari? By virtue of the law of supply and demand, tataas yung price na yan. Okay? So because of the reputation, good reputation of the company, maganda yung operating performance nila, nakakapagbigay sila ng dividends sa ano. Okay? Tumataas yung reputation nila, remember guys? Yung brand value, tataas yan. No? Tapos, many more people would like to invest in that company kahit nasa secondary market, no? Bibili sa Philippine Stock Exchange. Okay? Because they know that there will be constant dividends and also capital appreciation. Naalala yung sinabi natin, no? Okay, so dividend decisions is very important to the company kasi nakaka-maximize ng shareholder value yan. Yun ang implicit effect niyan. Tapos, ano yan? Role ng finance yan. Okay? So, yung tatlong yun, guys, yung first principles natin. Ang bilis ng oras, guys. Sorry. Parang nangalahati pa tayo. Kasi umabot na kami dito sa dito sa ibang section. No? Okay, it's okay, guys. It's okay. Ano na lang, guys, no? So, may I request you to continue looking at our slides para next meeting medyo mas smoother yung ano natin. Hindi naman tayo tumagal dun sa discussion, medyo tumagal lang tayo dito sa no, sa pag-group no ng but it's okay, guys. Yung recordings, guys, 'di ba pino-post ko sa Canvas na nakalink yun sa Facebook. Okay? I hope nakikita nyo, guys, ha. Nasa modules natin yon, yung recordings natin. Okay, so before we go, kasi meron pa ako mga 2 or 3 minutes, pakita ko lang, guys. Dapat mapakita ko to sa inyo. So this is an example of, okay, si Metro Pacific, guys. Ito, financing decision to, anong investments? So pumupunta sila sa toll roads, meron silang investment, kasi Indonesian company to, no? Meron silang investment din sa Vietnam, 45% owned nila yung Meralco, meron silang Met Power, Maynilad, hospitals, guys, sa kanila yung Makati Med, may stake sila sa Cardinal Santos, may stake sila sa Lourdes Hospital sa Mandaluyong, may stake sila dyan sa may Davao Medical Center yata. Okay, so marami silang stakes marami silang businesses na ini-engage in. And the reason why that is so, magaling yung mga finance people nila. Alam ng mga finance people nila na importante yung diversification. May investment sila sa sa light rail, guys, LRT. Okay? And not only that, si DMCI, ganun din, no? Si DMCI dati lang yan, construction. Pero ngayon nasa real estate na rin siya, DMCI Homes. So dati hindi naman sila gumagawa ng mga bahay-bahay, taga-construct lang sila, nagko-construct lang sila ng mga buildings. Pero nakita nila, real estate is also very lucrative. Pumasok din sila sa real estate. Nasa water sila, no? Nasa mining, nasa power. And you can come up with several other examples, no? Ito naman, guys, example lang dividends to. Declaration ng dividends, si Jollibee, no? So sabi dito, i-share ko tong na to, guys, para basahin nyo rin to. About dividends. I-share ko, guys, paki-copy na lang yung I have only 2 more minutes. Okay, share ko sa inyo yung na yun. Tapos read on about dividends, guys. Yan. Okay? So ito naman si Petron, no? Petron announcement ng dividends. So these are blue chip companies that give dividends to their shareholders. All right. So let me just summarize, guys. Next meeting, okay? So may hindi pa tayong na-discuss dito, no? Okay, summary lang to, guys, ng investing, financing principle and dividend principle. Next meeting, guys, we're going to just finish those slides and then punta na tayo dito sa corollary principles. Okay? So corollary principles, guys, cash flow is king, time value of money, etc. And then we should be able to finish everything, guys, next meeting. And then pwede natin masimulan yung part B, intermediaries, institutions. And then tatapusin natin yan next Thursday. Okay? Any questions, guys? Okay, I hope you're learning. Sana natututo kayo, guys, sa mga sessions natin. Okay, thank you, Mika. Okay, natuto ba kayo ngayon, guys? Paki-chat naman para yan, salamat, no? I appreciate feedback like this kasi ibig sabihin nun, hindi nasasayang yung 90 minutes na magkakasama tayo. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so I'll see you guys next week. Paki-base yung mga slides natin and ingat kayo. Please keep safe always.
Goodbye and thank you, sir.
Goodbye. Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys.
Thank you po, sir.
Salamat. Salamat.
Bye, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ingat kayo, ha. Salamat. Thank you. Ingat. And may magpapacheck ba ng attendance? Gail, andyan ka na ba?